Did they make
No,
contact?
no. It's pretty close, but this is going to be a drag race.
Right
Look at
there,
this.
moves
Wow.
him to win it. Carl Edwards bump and dump and run.
Here comes Gordon right up to the bumper again. The bump and run.
There it is.
Maine to really turn around, Maine to Reilly's cage up.
Yeah, welcome to the Bump and Run podcast. I'm your host, Michael D. White, joined by my two best friends, Matt the Statman Reilly and Eric Daytona Ron. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you guys had yourselves a Jaguars type of weekend. Normally, we talk about the winner of the race, but it's the off season, and it's the first off season episode we've done. Took a couple weeks off to refresh, relax, kind of step away from NASCAR, but now it's time to update ourselves and update you with all the news as well. But first, fellas, how the hell are you guys? I haven't seen you in person in I don't know how long. I haven't talked to you besides text messages, and I don't know how long. How is everybody? Matt, loving the Santa hat right now, getting yourselves in the holiday spirit.
It is the holiday season. It is so the reason why you haven't seen us, or at least me, is it's just so. I mean, I'm sure it's the same with you guys too, right? It's just this time of year. Once Thanksgiving rolls around, from Thanksgiving to the New Year, it is like busy. Go. There's something going on. There's hunting season for me and Eric. There's football season. There's Christmas shopping. There's Christmas decorating. There's just so much going on this time of year. It happens very quickly. That's probably why the NASCAR off season seems so quick, because you're just so busy those 3 months.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, and especially like at work, our busy time is the end of the year, because you're trying to push out as many units as possible before the end of the year. And it's just like it's end of month every month. It's like, oh man, I'm just flying. And then you have all the other stuff on top of it. Someone asked me if I started Christmas shopping yet. I was like, no, I didn't. I have lists for people of things I want to buy. I just haven't purchased them. And then I look down, I go, oh my God, I only have 12 days. It's the 12 days of Christmas now. Like, I'm fucked.
Well, if you've been listening to the show, does that not just seem so fitting for our host here, Mike White, to be cutting it close to the end for Christmas shopping? That sums it up. That sums you up perfectly right there, White.
I would like to make an announcement.
Yeah?
I would like to make an announcement. It is 7:40 on December 12th. This is by far the earliest into the Christmas season that I'm done. I've bought.
You're done.
Wow.
Wow. Congratulations.
I don't know how, with the assistance of somehow, I did have some help involved, but I'm done. I'll tell you what, though. Save the applause, because I have everything, but nothing's going to get wrapped until probably about 11:30 on Christmas Eve.
Oh, there you go. A bunch of old newspapers. You know what I mean? Couple things of Scotch tape. You'll do just fine. Like you're in the 6th grade wrapping your old math and science social studies book with paper grocery bags from Sunshine Market.
You gotta do it with the funny pages. That way they can read a little comic strip after they open it up.
Is that just a northeastern Pennsylvania thing?
I don't know.
Growing up in the 90s? Because we've all opened up Christmas gifts wrapped in newspaper before.
I don't know. I don't know if it's regional. I think it's just a poor person thing, to be honest with you.
And it's like, God forbid, especially around the holiday season, you go for a nice piece of pumpkin pie, open up that Cool Whip container, and there's broccoli and carrots in it.
Yeah, you're like, what
you know
is
what I mean?
this?
Like old butter containers. It's never what's in the container. It's like
or the famous container was always in my house. The I can't believe it's not butter container.
Oh yeah.
My mom would save that container and just use it as like a leftover container.
Oh yeah. You never knew what was going to be inside that.
Mine's those tins of cookies, of the Christmas cookies.
Yes.
And then you open it up and there's a bunch of sewing needles and the yarn and all
buttons.
sorts of stuff. Yeah, buttons in there and stuff. It's like, oh man, where's the little sugar cookies with the jelly in the center? which I feel like is very underrated. What's your favorite Christmas cookie? Since we're vastly approaching the holidays.
You're talking about the thumbprint, Whitey, like the raspberry thumbprint.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude.
Those are good.
If we're classifying it just as like the Christmas cookies, because like obviously you can't go your classic like chocolate chip cookie because that's an everyday cookie.
Yeah.
We're talking about like Christmas cookies. It's
like
got
a nut roll cookie or like
it's got to be the Italian cookie though, Eric.
Dipped in the icing.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's like the ricotta cookies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those are phenomenal.
They're so good.
But not the
snowballs.
pepper.
Sometimes they call them little snowballs.
But not those pepper cookies though that look just like them, but they're the brown ones with the white icing.
If you make that
they have the
mistake,
anise in it. Not a fan of anise.
No, not at all.
No, not a fan of anise. If you like anise, you can just get out.
So I had Matt. You brought up chocolate chip cookies, and I swear this is a NASCAR podcast, but it's the off season. You brought up chocolate chip cookies. My sister-in-law for Thanksgiving had to take on a chocolate chip cookie. Instead of using chocolate chips, they just pounded the shit out of Oreos. It blew my mind.
Whoa.
So like you have that regular sugary cookie, and then you just get like a little Oreo bit. It's like eating the cookies and cream ice cream. It's like that kind of consistency. Blew my mind, man. It was fantastic.
So you have a little bit of texture in there as well.
Oh yeah, it's got a little chew to it because of the icing, the frosting in the Oreo. Oh man!
So our new segment is going to be on the Food Channel. If you have Comcast, it's channel 345.
I'll tell you what. So Sam's Club. So my mother-in-law for Thanksgiving, she got at Sam's Club. There are these like pumpkin cake ball things. Like I don't know how else to explain them with like icing on them on the outside.
It's like a cake pop,
rich and fluffy and thick. Yeah, cake pops, but they weren't on a stick. They were just like in a container. They were so rich and fluffy. And we were at Sam's Club yesterday, and I noticed they have like the red and green ones for Christmas.
Ooh,
definitely gonna have to get those for the Christmas parties coming up because those things are phenomenal. Eat 2 or 3 of them and you're stuffed.
I might have to stop in for those. The problem, though, with Sam's Club cookies is they're so good, but you could only buy gigantic containers of them.
Yes.
I remember before we were going to Pocono, I always like to walk around Sam's Club to see if there's anything we could buy for the campsite in bulk and stuff. And I wanted like sugar cookies. Like I just wanted cookies, but it was just this giant container. I'm like, I don't know. I still bought it. I still I ate them all.
That's when you make yourself look good in the office. You know, you want it for yourself. So you take as much as you want. You spread it out in the platter.
Bring them for everybody.
And you bring them in for everybody. It's like, look at, he brought in cookies. Oh, what a nice guy. Meanwhile, yeah, not all the cookies, baby. You had a tin at home, Whitey, that you opened up and you put some of your own sugar cookies in.
Oh yeah, Eric, man, you're I'm in 2022. You're in 3022. I mean, I'm amazed here. But how about your holidays though? I feel like I didn't get to talk to you around Thanksgiving. How's your Thanksgiving holidays, Matt? How's the kid doing? Is he excited for Santa? Does he even realize what Santa Claus is yet? Like,
no, he's 4.5 months now. No, he doesn't like realize obviously what's going on, but he's like enamored by the Christmas tree lights. Like we'll walk him over there if he's fussy, and he'll just like look at the Christmas tree lights, and you can tell like he's thinking to himself like, "What the hell is this thing?"
Like this is insane. This is like a different galaxy.
Yeah, pretty much.
That was me on Saturday night looking at my tree. So.
Now to come to think of it, there's been a couple nights in my past where I've stared at a Christmas tree too. So the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Right, it's like a burning campfire. You can't look away.
Hitting the eggnog a little too hard around this season.
That's right.
But I feel like I needed to step away from NASCAR. I don't know about you guys, but like the last couple of weeks, not paying attention.
I have to say this before I forget because you just brought it up, and to kind of segue into our actual NASCAR podcast. The time away was a need for sure.
Yeah.
And in just that small of, what is it, a month?
Mm-hmm.
Today, I was going to do show prep, and I swear to you, I didn't know who the champion was. I forgot who won the championship.
It's because it's Joey Logano and no one cares.
Right, exactly. It was just such a memorable champion after everything that transpired at the end of the season. I'm going, okay, so I'm like, wait a minute, who won?
Yeah.
I'm going, it wasn't, no. I'm going, he won it this. I'm going, no, it wasn't him. I go, Denny, no. I'm going, who's left? I go, Christopher Bell. I go, no. I'm going, oh my God. I'm thinking, who? I have him so out of my thoughts and everything. And I'm like, oh my God, it was Joey Logano. Like, what? What a sad champion. Like, even now, to this day, I feel like when Chase won, I understand the popular drive, but it's still, you saw more. He was doing more. He was more in the public eye. I don't know. I just feel like I forgot who our 2022 champion was, and I was kind of embarrassed about it.
I think it doesn't help that the race was a major letdown, and it was just not a good race, You know
what I just thought about?
What's
For
that?
the first time in the podcast history, I have a little bit of NASCAR breaking news that the source is me.
Whoa!
You were doing a little traveling.
So this past week, the past couple days, I was down in Florida for my company's year of the end expo and everything. And I work for a company called Fastenal. If you might have heard of it, it's on the 17 and the number 2 car.
They got that in Victory Lane in Bristol, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
for RFK. So at the show, obviously Fastenal had their show car out there with the 2023 paint scheme. Looks great. But also Brad was there, Keselowski, and I got a couple minutes of just one-on-one to just kind of bullshit with him. And I asked him because, I'm kind of awkward in those situations. I don't want to be like, oh, I'm a big fan or, I'm a big NASCAR fan. So, I played it cool and everything. The first thing that popped into my head was like, hey, man, what's going on with the rear end of the car? Have you heard anything? I haven't seen anything reported on it. I did tell him, I said, I do a NASCAR podcast. I am a big fan of NASCAR. And so we were bullshitting a little bit. And I asked him, what's going on with the rear end? I haven't heard anything. And he said, from everything that he's heard, they're making improvements.
Okay.
So there is the breaking news from Statman Matt. You heard it first on the Bump and Run podcast because I haven't seen Bob Pockrass tweet about it. I haven't seen Jordan Bianchi tweet about it. So I'm letting you know straight from the horse's mouth that Brad Keselowski said that he's heard that they've made vast improvements, but he doesn't want to be the first one to test it.
I was going to say, what else did he say about
That's
it?
That's what he said. And then I did end up getting awkward. So he was signing a little autograph thing for me. And I was like, I'm a big NASCAR fan and everything, but I have to admit I am a Chase fan. And he kind of got weird. He was like, oh, that's sorry to hear that, bud. And then that was kind of it ended amicably, but that pretty much ended the conversation. I was like, all right, man. I was like, good luck. Make the company proud. We're rooting for you. And then I kind of walked away.
Did you give him
a little? I thought you were a Hendrick fucking double agent or something, trying to get some inside info.
Did you give him a little podcast business card?
I didn't have any on me. I didn't have the heart to tell you. I didn't have the heart to tell you. I totally forgot the cards. I thought about it as I was in the Charlotte airport because my layover was in Charlotte. So I was like, perfect airport to throw the business cards.
Oh yeah.
I didn't have any.
It happens. Yeah. There's always next year. Whatchamacallit, that reminds me, we were partying with the RFK guys down in Daytona. Yeah, you should have dropped that. All my buddies partied with your PR people and stuff. And what's that bar?
They were a good time. They were a real good time.
Eric, they were a lot of fun. Eric, what's the name of that bar that we were at down in Daytona with the karaoke?
Peanut and George's.
Peanut and George's. And who's the karaoke DJ? He's got a cool name, right?
Oh, dude.
It's like Slick Rick or something.
I can't forget, dude, but he's a legend down there.
Yeah. Good times. But yeah, I feel like you said, it was just nice to step away for a little bit, relax. But
I'm still not there yet either. I'm still very much enjoying the football season. I'm enjoying the holidays. I usually start getting really excited. We've talked about this before. I usually start getting excited about Chili Bowl time, about mid-January, whenever that rolls around. And then once that's done and we're heading towards the end of the NFL playoffs, the Super Bowl, then it's like, okay, like, let's go. I'm ready for the NASCAR season. So I'm still probably about a month away from getting really, really excited, but I'm starting to get little twinges here and there of excitement.
Oh yeah, I got a little bit of an itch the other day.
Right, a little one.
I was at work and I go, you want to what? Let me go back and watch like the last 30 laps of that Road America race where Tyler Reddick got his first win. And then even on Sunday, I've been trying to ride the exercise bike because my blood pressure it's not getting any better. Let's just say that. So I'm like, all right, I need to take some precautions. I need to actually start taking care of myself a little bit. And so then I threw on the Indy race. I watched the last hour or so as I rode the bike. I only rode the bike for 20 minutes, but I watched the whole last hour. And so that's what I do in the off season. I do the Tyler Reddick win tour. So
what do you do? What do you do the other 90 days in the off season?
Well, I go back and I watch all the Xfinity races too.
It was a little bit of a burn.
I know, I get it. Anyways, you guys want to jump into some NASCAR news? We got tons of it to talk about.
The Bump and Run NASCAR news.
So we got like a month's worth of news to talk about. I skipped a whole lot of the minor stuff. This was all the major stuff that I could find. This one I thought was really interesting. Trackhouse Racing is looking to expand into other sports, possibly do an Indy 500 run. What do you guys think about Justin Marks looking to expand the footprint of Trackhouse Racing? You're shaking your head, Matt.
I think it's very ambitious.
Yeah.
I applaud him wanting to do that, but like, listen, dude, you just had a very, very, very successful season by all measures. You just had a very successful season. Let's focus on that. Let's build on that. You've seen what's happened to your Tony Stewarts of the world, where you start expanding your empire a little bit.
Yourself too thin.
You spread yourself too thin. You start lacking in the things that got you there. So, I mean, that's what the hell do I know? If he wants to do it, more the power, all the power to him. But I personally would maybe give it another couple of years. Let's get some more success in the bread and butter, your NASCAR side of things, and then go for it. But interesting. It is interesting.
Yeah, I'd like to see. I like to see him what he's doing, expanding, getting the name out there for NASCAR. Being that, like Matt just said, they had a very successful season. So now their name is out there and people know that name when they hear, Justin Marks and Suarez and Ross Chastain, especially. So actually, I kind of don't blame him for, cooking while the flame is hot and trying to get as many sponsorships and ideas and money, flowing in as much as he can now, because you don't know when the flame's going to go out. So maybe be ambitious now in the beginning, realize how far that's going to get you. Was it worth it? Was it not worth it? Because, once that flame starts going out, and if Chastain doesn't do any more crazy moves and they don't have a season like they had, well, now where do you go? So I can see it both ways where, I think he might be looking at this as an opportunity, strike while the iron's hot type of thing. But I also agree, with Matt, where it's like, hey, look at what these other drivers, went through when they expanded and took on more roles. But that's not about his drivers. He doesn't drive for his team. So, Justin Marks might be the one out there doing all that himself, not Denny, not Tony. So, I don't know. I think more power to him now. Strike while the iron's hot, and that name, that Watermelon Man, Chastain, Suarez, you take that momentum and you try to make something of it.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the middle where it's like, be ambitious, but don't spread yourself so thin that you're going to lack on all fronts too. It's hard to run a motorsports team, let alone different disciplines of racing too. Like, I mean, look at Chip Ganassi racing, where they were never really dominant in NASCAR, but they were pretty good in the IndyCar side, where it's like, you shift around resources and stuff. I don't know. I wouldn't want to.
It does have that Roger Penske feel, like he wants to be a name in motorsports, Justin Marks. Like, you have Penske, you have Chip Ganassi, where they have, their Indy, their, where it's, they make their name doing those as well as NASCAR. So like, you look at Roger Penske, if Marks is that's what he's going for, like Matt said, more power to him, but that's a tough hill to climb.
Yeah. Speaking of tough hills, Cole Custer's career has been a tough hill climbing. And it seems like Ryan Preece is replacing Cole Custer in the 41 car for 2023. Cole Custer going to be moving back down to the Xfinity Series. What do you guys think about that?
Great move. Absolutely great move.
Yeah.
I mean, his dad tried to save him, I feel like, there at the end. Keeping him in that ride, but I think Tony came out on top in that and said, hey, like, what did we do this whole last year with Ryan if we're not going to at least give him an opportunity? So let's see what it's going to do now. And, Cole had his shot, and I don't know if you had it in your notes or not, but it's a good segue into it. Look at John Hunter. He's running full time now in that 20 car in Xfinity. He took a step down, and, he was in the Cup Series running back markers, shit team. Hey, Kyle Busch said, come down, run my trucks, goes down there, dominates in the trucks. And look at what he did. He got himself a full-time Xfinity ride in that 20 car for Gibbs. And, I could see, Cole having a little bit of that trajectory in his career as well, where it's like, hey, embrace the fact that you're getting this shot to go down again, and use that as motivation and try to get yourself back into the Cup. I think it's nothing but good things here for all parties involved if they all have the right mindset going into each situation that they have.
Yeah, I agree. And I have high hopes for Cole Custer too, because we saw him absolutely perform in the Xfinity Series. I think he had 2 second place finishes in the points back to back in 2018 and 2019. If not, he was in the championship in 2018 regardless. And I feel like he could win a championship next year for sure. Especially if they pick up where they left off back in 2019. I think it's the move that Cole Custer needs to gain some confidence back in himself too. I think winning in that SS Greenlight car earlier on in the season kind of helped, but then you move up to Cup, man. It's such a hard endeavor. And when you're on a 4-car team like that, there's always going to be that one car that underperforms. We see it with all the major teams with 4 cars. So should be interesting to see what happens to him in 2023. Speaking of NASCAR, going internationally, we weren't speaking of it, but they're going internationally. They're starting the NASCAR Brazil Sprint Race, which from what I could gather is pretty going to be similar to like the Mexican Series, or up in Canada, like the Pinty Series and stuff. So just trying to expand into more international markets. So who knows, maybe we could see some cool Brazilian drivers move over to Cup soon. In the coming years, kind of like Daniel Suarez did down in Mexico, moving up. What do you guys think about just expanding the NASCAR footprint globally?
I'm all for it. I've always said that. We've got to grow this sport. I think NASCAR's been doing a great job over the past couple of years to get that momentum going. So no matter where you're pulling the fandom from, I think it's a great thing.
How about you, Eric? Any thoughts on that, or just kind of echo Matt's sentiments?
Yeah, kind of echo what Matt's saying. You want these big TV deals. You want these big Netflix show deals. Well, F1's getting them, and they're international. Their drivers are from all over the place. So it could only be a good thing for us that we're trying to do that as well.
That's true. When you have international drivers, that suddenly creates a fan base all over the globe too. And I think that is something that NASCAR is really missing out on, because I feel like we put on the best racing product, in my opinion, so I don't know.
For sure we do.
Absolutely. NASCAR on Fox will continue a rotating third person in the booth for 2023. Speculation is Kevin Harvick might take it in 2024, and that's why they're keeping the seat open. I know none of us were really a fan of the third man changing, except for when Tony Stewart did it and Matt Kenseth. I thought those guys were really great at it.
Junior, but I mean, we get him the whole second half of the season anyway.
He's kind of already cemented in as one of them now.
But what do you guys think about that? Other than who would you want to see in the booth as a third man come in? Kurt. Oh, you want to what? I feel like that'd be just put Kurt in for the whole season. I love Kurt Busch when he's on. And in fact, do you ever see the broadcast where him and his brother would do like the truck races together?
Yeah.
Dude, honestly, bring Mikey up from the truck series.
Matt, you took the words right out of my mouth. I love Mikey in the booth. I think he is very informed. I think he shows enthusiasm in his voice when he sees something that excites him on the racetrack. And I think he gets a bad rep from the Cup guys on Sunday, not Cup fans on Sundays, because of the stupid gimmicks that they'd have him do for the Cup
grid walk and stuff.
Most people aren't seeing him on Friday nights during the truck race. So like they don't see that side of Mikey, and man, that side of Mikey is tremendous in the booth. So I would love to see him get a shot on Sundays. Why have him down in the trucks when you have a guy in house? Bring him up.
Yep.
Yeah, I completely agree. I feel like his talents are being wasted doing the grid walk. And I don't want to get started on a tirade about NASCAR on Fox, but their whole entire gimmick is all comedy, and I'm over it. I want I want a serious product. I want what NBC gives us. They give us to us serious, Take it serious, because if you don't, then people don't. Yeah, exactly. People don't take you seriously, Speaking of serious matter, NASCAR was being sued by the state of Ohio about broadcasting rights in Ohio. Did you guys see this story a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, where they actually they paid double or something. Well, Ohio tried screwing NASCAR out of their taxes about like $500,000 or something like that.
Yeah. So like, I guess through the broadcasting rights, Fox pays the taxes to broadcast NASCAR and all that stuff. Same with NBC. And then Ohio wanted NASCAR to pay it on top of it. Well, they won the suit. NASCAR's off the hook. They don't have to pay Ohio anything because you want to what? You can't be double dipping Ohio. I was going to make an Ohio State joke, but I couldn't think of one off the top of my head.
I mean, dude, like you don't want races? Like I'm sure I don't know what I don't know what tracks. Oh, Eldora's in Ohio, isn't it?
Mid-Ohio's in Ohio.
Mid-Ohio's in Ohio.
Eldora's in Indiana, isn't it?
I don't know. I'm not sure. But no, it was about just broadcasting them on television. It was broadcasting the races on TV. They wanted double payments or something like that. I don't know. I'm not sure. Speaking of payments, I don't know how Rick Ware pays his bills. I'm really curious on where he gets his money, but apparently he is switching his technical alliance from Stewart-Haas Racing to RFK.
Eldora is in Ohio. Sorry, just as a little.
Okay. Yeah, that's good to know. Maybe we should take a road trip out to Eldora one day.
Oh, dude, I'd love it. Let's go. You tell me when. Honest to God, that'd be a dream. That'd be so awesome. I love that track.
But speaking of Rick Ware, though, the RFK switch, what do you guys think about them switching from Stewart-Haas Racing to RFK? I feel like it's like, are you going to gain anything more by switching to Roush? I guess they use Roush engines, but
I'm very indifferent about that.
I mean, although if I'm in Rick Ware's shoes right now, I'm going over to RFK too, because I see them as the up and coming, flashy, new product. I see Stewart-Haas as the old, needs to be fixed up and put a little money into it team right now. So I could, maybe that would be the only thing to make me switch. I mean, you look at SHR really hasn't done much, right? Harvick, he's I don't know, still to this day, I don't know how he went those back-to-back win. I have no, that is the biggest mystery to me up to this point. So besides that though, they're both kind of, it's the same thing, 6 of one, half a dozen the other.
Yeah, pretty much. Speaking of Kevin Harvick, he says he'll know by Daytona if he's going to return for the 2024 season. What do you think about Kevin Harvick possibly retiring? You think it's time?
I think he's done. I think he's done. If he's thinking about it,
I think if he's already thinking about it, I think that's listen, you can only race for so long. And I know it's competitively, it's always going to be in these guys, but if he's already thinking about it, I'm assuming he's just got to get some things contractually.
He's waiting for the contract
squared away. I would assume that it's probably MTJ's last season as well. I think we're going to see an exodus of two past series champions of this sport.
Harvick, he's taking his kids to Italy to test. He's been doing nothing from what I've seen on social media besides having his now daughter as well is now in a cart. And, he's going all over the place, and he's basically, all in with his kids and teaching them the ways of racing now. And that seems to be his focus, and his all of his mental capability is going to helping his kids right now. So I don't see him racing much longer.
Should be interesting. Might be the last year we see Kevin Harvick behind that Busch Light Ford. Speaking of Busch Light, Cypress Hill going to be performing at the Busch Light Clash at the Coliseum. What do you guys think about this musical choice? I'm a hip hop fan, but honestly, Cypress Hill just doesn't do it for me. How about you guys?
I will be honest with you. So one of my first ever concerts was Cypress Hill in Lincoln Park. That's a story for a different episode. I told you guys that story.
Yeah.
I was introduced for the first time in my life at 12 years old to some things that I probably shouldn't have been introduced to for the first time at 12 years old.
Yeah.
But I honestly didn't even know Cypress Hill was still a band. I did not know that they were even still together.
Yeah, I haven't heard them do shit in a long time, I guess.
No. But I guess they're an LA band. The Clash is in LA. Maybe they're trying to pull in some new fans, but are there even still Cypress Hill fans out there? I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you're gonna go LA, you're gonna go hip hop. Like, I mean, Ice Cube was great last year,
but there's a million other bands to pull in that came from LA. Motley Crue, get them out there. Well,
I'm trying to go with something a little more current. I mean, I feel like Cypress Hill, like everyone that's a fan of Cypress Hill is, I don't know, like.
At this point, you might as well just bring Snoop Dogg out and be like, you know what? This is
Snoop Dogg would be way better than Cypress.
Right? Bring Snoop Dogg out. Snoop Dogg relates to anybody. If you're 10, because he has a new album out now for kids, which is absolutely awesome. And you could relate to him if you're 60, you know who Snoop Dogg is.
Yeah.
So it's like he covers everything.
Yeah. No, you want to what? I bet you they tried to get Snoop Dogg and they couldn't. He's like, nah, man, you gotta pay me more money.
No, dude, Snoop Dogg, I'll say this. Snoop Dogg, I think he's a real OG, dude. He knows he's a people's person, dude. Like,
oh yeah.
He goes on the Trailer Park Boys have him on their show all the time. He does it.
Oh, really?
So like if he's going to Canada to do a half-hour podcast with the Trailer Park Boys, he's willing enough to do something for NASCAR. I guarantee it.
Dude, he's been streaming on Twitch a lot lately too, just playing Madden video games and talking to fans on Twitch, which I think is the coolest thing. But speaking of Busch, Kyle Busch will run a new font for the 8 car, plus merchandise dropped on the 8th. Looks like majority of the sponsors are returning to the number 8 car for 2023, like Lenovo, Alsco, Cheddar's, 3Chi. It seems they're all coming back. What do you guys think about Kyle Busch's new number and pretty much retaining the fleet of sponsors that RCR had last year?
So
I'd have to see it on the car. I haven't seen any renders yet. The actual graphic font, I didn't care for it.
Yeah.
But I think just like with the whole number movement thing, I think by third race in, you're not going to know it's going to be 8 car and it's going to be what it is. But it's good for him with the sponsorships, though. That was huge. I didn't think he was going to retain all those.
It's going to take me a couple races into next season to be like, oh yeah, that's Kyle Busch, instead of, oh, that's Tyler Reddick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just
like a 45-23 move at the end of the year.
I thought exactly like that. Yep. Exactly like that, where it's going to be like, oh yeah, that's Reddick is in the 45 or whatever. And so that's where my thought process went when I saw all of Kyle Busch's stuff with Cheddar's, 3Chi, Lenovo, when the 8 font came out and all that. I wasn't thinking about Kyle Busch. I was thinking about Tyler Reddick. So if all of them are staying with the 8 over at RCR, nothing's really been announced with Tyler Reddick yet, has it, Whitey? Like nothing.
Nope.
Like no crew chief. Did they even announce the number? Is he going to be in the 45?
I mean, that's what everyone's assuming. Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
No crew chief, no number announcement, no sponsor announcement. Like, What's going
Just
on?
raw talent, baby. Just raw talent.
Just raw talent, and
That's it.
and let's hope we get someone good in there. I mean, someone's got to be building that Daytona car right now, right? Like they work all off season to get ready for the 500. So I don't know. Are you nervous? I'm nervous. I'm nervous. I'm nervous as hell. Plus, I want some new T-shirts. I want to get that shit ordered. You know. I'm a sucker for merchandise, so as you can tell, I buy it all. I don't know. I'm nervous. I'm scared.
It'll be all right.
We know that because of the text message we got last Friday. It was fucking 8:00 in the morning. We had to talk Whitey off a ledge again.
Well,
oh boy, here we go. Here we go.
You leave me at work. I got a lot to think about throughout the day, and of course, it always goes back to NASCAR. Speaking of NASCAR, all ARCA races gonna be airing on Fox Sports in 2023. I thought they did that last year too, but I guess they only aired the first like half of the season or so on FS1. So I'm excited to see ARCA. It's always fun to catch it on like a Saturday morning type deal.
Put it on though. This is what I keep saying. Just put it on. What is it hurting to put the ARCA series on? Though all those channels show bullshit shows, reruns all the time anyway. Put it on there. This is where you get that local flavor. If you know someone locally going from sprint car up into that as a local guy, you're going to want to watch them. You're going to invest at least in a small portion. That small portion you build to a bigger portion. And just put it on the TV. If I happen to go by and see it on there, I'm going to stop and I'm going to watch it because guess what? Now the ARCA, it looks like Xfinity because they got the updated bodies. Now, back years ago when the ARCA cars looked like they were from the outer space, you knew it was ARCA. You kind of, I'm not watching that's ARCA. Now you could kind of be like, oh, what is this, practice for Xfinity? And you kind of could get sucked in. At least I did last year a couple of times thinking it was Xfinity practice, and here I was watching ARCA. I stuck around and I watched it. You got to start small. You got to start small, get it from ARCA to trucks. You got to promote those more.
Chandler Smith, Corey Heim, just to name a few people in the past couple of years that are going to be staple names in NASCAR households within the next 5-6 years. Those are going to be names that everybody knows.
And we watched them at Pocono.
And we watched them at Pocono make the best save we've ever seen. Ever.
I don't even remember that save, to be honest with you. I was drinking so much
it was
that
awesome.
day.
It was the best save I've ever seen.
The sunset in the background, it's burned into my head.
Yes.
I see it right now.
Dude, I have to make a confession. So I was so drunk that the next day I woke up and you were talking about this save, and I was like, yeah, it was fucking awesome. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. I had to go on Twitter and we found the clip so I could see it. It was a fucking amazing save. It was one of the greatest saves I've ever seen. But in the moment, I'm like, I don't remember this. I think I was outside eating chicken tenders all alone.
Yeah, you were, dude.
Dropping chicken tendies on the ground.
I dropped my chicken tendy basket. It was the saddest scene. But speaking of grassroots and short track racing, the community around the Nashville Fairgrounds are still putting up a fight, but it seems things are kind of moving a little bit forward with the proposal to revitalize the track. They're still in negotiations. I hope it happens. I'm hoping to see NASCAR go to the Nashville Fairgrounds because the SRX race there last year was phenomenal. That is such a cool, fast, short track. I hope we get there. Anyways, speaking of SRX, they are moving to Thursday nights with ESPN coverage. They plan to bring back Thursday Night Thunder to ESPN using Tony Stewart's SRX series. So, Matt, what do you think about that? I know you were real hyped about SRX for the longest time. Unfortunately, it was always on Saturday nights in the summertime when we were doing other stuff.
Thursday Night Thunder, baby. It's coming back.
It's gonna be so cool. Just something on a Thursday. Like, I will admit, Saturdays are tough. Xfinity race, it's tough for me to get a
It's
hold
the
of it.
summertime, you're out
SRX,
doing things.
Yeah, it's
hard,
Saturday
man.
nights is tough in the summertime, for anything. That's why now fall, you have Dart League, you play pitch leagues, because everyone's, they're willing to go and do that stuff now. You have time now. In the summer, you want to go out, you're camping, you're going here, you're going there, you're busy. So I think it's a really, really good idea to get some eyeballs on Thursday nights to that SRX series, which I don't know. At this point in time, I think they're a direct competitor with NASCAR now, as far as the direction they're going and how they're changing. They're not keeping anything the same. They're moving around. They're messing with times. They're messing with TV deals. So it's like, they're trying some things that maybe NASCAR could get. I wouldn't call their little notebook to try to steal some ideas from them, but either they're working together to try to see if it works or doesn't work. But getting ESPN is absolutely a huge deal for SRX.
And you know what I'm hoping too is maybe NASCAR looks into that, sees. Hopefully it's successful as all hell, right? Because
I hope it's
SRX is successful on ESPN, that could open up that door for NASCAR for this new TV deal that's going to be coming up in a couple years. So.
And like you guys said, Saturday nights are really hard in the summertime because Saturday night's the night for fighting. Like Elton John said, you want to go out and do stuff. You want to enjoy the night. You don't want to be sitting in front of a TV. Now Thursday, I mean, there ain't dick to do on a Thursday in the summertime.
Dude, it's the perfect night in the summertime to throw a race on a TV because they're going to be quick. The races are 2 hours long. You have work the next day, but you're also not afraid to be up a little later than normal because it's Friday next day. So
it's like, I just have to get through this one day
on a Thursday night. Tomorrow's Friday, whatever. Thursday night's the perfect night for something like that. So it's only, I think they said it's only 6 races. So it's a quick sprint through the middle of the summertime. You get some Thursday night racing. It does not interfere with any NASCAR. I think it's perfect.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, and I'm really looking forward to it because I was super excited about the SRX series when it was first announced, and then it was just tough to watch,
Not the product, but just the timing of the product.
Timing of the product, exactly. But yeah, that's all I have for NASCAR news. And then just because, it's the off season, there's not much to talk about, but I was thinking, so we make hot takes all the time, or cold takes, mild takes, whatever. But we never really revisit them. You know what I'm saying? And whenever I listen to sports broadcasters talk, I feel like half the time they're talking out their ass.
Nobody holds them accountable.
No one ever holds them accountable. So today I'm going to hold us accountable to before the season started,
it's our version today of Old Takes Exposed. If you're on Twitter and you're a sports fan, there's a handle called Old Takes Exposed, and it's just a Twitter handle dedicated to holding people accountable for the bad takes they've had in the past. So that's what we're going to do ourselves today. And we've got some funny ones.
We've got some great ones. So before the season starts, we always do our Daytona 500 preview show where it's during speed weeks. We kind of give bold predictions on who we think is going to do well throughout the season and everything like that. And this year we did a little exercise called buy sell, where we were buying and selling NASCAR drivers stock. All right. So we bought and sold all these NASCAR drivers, and right off the bat, the first driver we started off with was Ross Chastain.
Oof.
Now, Eric said hold. He wanted to buy, but he said he got a gut feeling not to. You're listening to your intuition.
Turns out that gut feeling was just gas.
Yeah. Real smelly intuition right there. Matt, you said sold. You wanted to see more out of Ross Chastain.
Yep.
I was an immediate buy after 2021 season because he started catching fire with Chip Ganassi Racing right around Pocono and beyond. So I had high hopes for Trackhouse because we were all high on Trackhouse the season before too, when it was just Daniel Suarez. He ended up finishing in second place with 2 wins and 15 top 5s. So not exactly the
point goes to Whitey there.
Yeah, we got one. Austin Cindric, I believe we all said bye. Eric, you said you felt good about his Cup experience. He had run a few races. Matt, you even predicted he would win a race later on in the season.
First one this year.
Turns out
first race right out of the gate. I was proven right.
He did. And I said to get in on the ground floor. This one, I don't know what the hell we were thinking. Austin Dillon, we all bought. Although, Eric, you said he wasn't championship material, but he could win. He did get that win at Daytona. And
that's what he always, he's always there in the hunt. He's always at like that bubble, that cutoff guy where, he'll have that win, but if he doesn't have that win, he's always right there. He's championship eligible, but I never really think that he has what it takes to get there.
Correct.
He ended up finishing 11th in the points, which is better than I remember. He had 1 win and 5 top 5s. Austin Cindric finished 12th in the points, had 1 win and 5 top 5s. So pretty good season for Austin Cindric and Austin Dillon, I guess. The two Austins doing pretty well. Kevin Harvick. I was holding and buying. Do you guys remember what you did to Kevin Harvick?
I sold Kevin Harvick. I didn't think he was going to do that. That's why earlier on, like when he rattled off those 2 back-to-backs, like that was probably the biggest shock to me during the season, because up until that point, we were completely right about what we said and selling him. And
I sold him and I said he was going to go winless. I was wrong about that, but up until, the last couple races of the regular season, that was looking pretty solid, but I did sell him and I feel like I was justified. Although he had a sneaky, consistently, quietly decent year, just because we hold Kevin Harvick. He's a Hall of Famer.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
We hold him at such a high regard. He didn't have a good Kevin Harvick year, but he still had a good year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he finished, 15th. He had some struggles in the playoffs, but he had 2 wins, 9 top 5s, and a whole shit ton of top 10. So he was pretty consistent. Kyle Larson, we all bought across the board. Now, here's the thing. I'm wondering, did Kyle Larson perform the way you expected him to? He has 3 wins on the season, 13 top 5s. He came in 7th. But to me, coming off that dominant year, I still feel like Kyle Larson underperformed, even with those high of a stats. What do you guys think?
I agree. He had a good year for anybody else's standards, but coming off of that 10-win championship year from 2021, I didn't think he would get back up to 10 wins. That's a really, really tall drink of water. But I think I was expecting 5, 6, 7 wins out of him, but he just didn't produce that.
For me, it's hard to tell. I think if we go back into that same car that he won 10 races in, I think he has a good shot at winning 10 races again in that car. I think going to the new car, going with the parity, how close it was throughout the field this year with this new car, might have put a little hinder on that as far as, getting to the win totals. We obviously saw that be nowhere near what it was in the past. For drivers to get multiple wins. I think, Whitey, this is probably the season, I think you've said it before, that you thought he was going to have when he first came back. And I could agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, he set the world on fire in 2021 and then kind of just coasted through 2022. I thought it was going to be the opposite way around. Give him a year to get used to the car again and then go on a tear. But yeah. How about Brad Keselowski?
Oof. Here's Eric's funny little take.
So, Eric, you were buying. You said you were really high on Brad. Me and Matt were both on the fence.
We're not gonna let Eric skate there. Because I know I've got a couple coming up as well, but we're stuck on Eric right now. We're not gonna let him skate there. Not only did he think he was gonna have a heck of a year, not only did he buy it, but Eric,
multiple wins. I said that they were gonna get out of there, and you know what?
I think he said he was gonna win the championship.
No, after Speed Weeks in Daytona, I was looking like a fucking genius.
Yeah, no, you were.
So let me just get that. Let me just at least have that. After
right,
the first
all right.
fucking speed weeks in Daytona, I'm like, oh my God, like I'm a fucking genius.
Yeah, I mean,
and then it was all literal downhill from there until the end. They started coming back up. They ran over a little rock that made their little graph go up a little bit. But man, was that a cold take? A really cold take.
But during speed weeks, you were looking like a genius.
Yeah.
Because Busher won his clash or his duel, right? And then
they both did.
And then Brad won the duel.
Yeah.
So like, man, fucking unreal. But hey, maybe in 2023 we'll see what goes on. Corey LaJoy, we all sold. I gotta tell you, for the listeners at home, I have been hating on Corey LaJoy for the last 2 months. I don't understand how he continues to race in the Cup Series.
We had this conversation, didn't we? In our group message a few weeks ago about him, where it's what is it about him? He hangs out with all these prominent names and these drivers, and he's on these podcasts and has his pod. And it's like, dude, you are, and like, we don't really want to bash any drivers on here besides Rick Ware Racing, but like, other than that, it's like we don't tend to talk a lot of shit. And it's like, we're not talking shit. We're just genuinely curious as to like, what do they see in Corey LaJoy that they just keep putting him in these cars? I honestly don't get it. You know,
he finished 31st in points. The only full-time driver to finish worse than him was Cody Ware. And then
point proven.
and he was 20 points below or 19 points below Kurt Busch, who only started 20 races in the season. So Corey LaJoy had 16 races to catch up to Kurt Busch, who wasn't getting any points, and he still couldn't pass him. I mean,
Zach Keselowski got 100 points deducted from him, and he still fucking crushed him.
Yeah. Eric Jones had 100 points deducted. Ty Gibbs had 100 points deducted. They still came up above him by over 100 points. Like, I don't get it. I will forever sell Corey LaJoy. I will never buy his stock. I am sorry if you're a Corey LaJoy fan at home. His personality's great. He's got a cool podcast. Get off the track, though. I don't know.
Agree.
All right, next one up, we had Tyler Reddick. I was saying buy all the dips. Buy them all. Matt, this was my favorite. You said buy hard. In fact, you go, look me in the eyes. He will win. That was the phrase of our podcast in 2021. And in 2022, sure enough, it did happen. And Eric, you said you were holding. You were waiting to see after falling off in the playoffs the year before. He struggles in the playoffs, though. That's something he's going to have to overcome. But I think he had a pretty solid season. What about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, if I were to start now with buy or sell for the next one, he's a definite buy for sure. You know, you don't see, like, he still had the same issues that, like I said there this year as well. The inconsistency, the shit in the bed when he really needs to make it happen. I mean, you even said, White, he admits that when he feels that pressure, he tends to overdrive his car and he tends to get himself in some bad situations. So if he could clean that up, mentally, just stay in the car and not overdrive and just be in the moment a little bit more, I think he's for sure championship contender.
Yeah, agreed.
And then Chase Elliott. I was holding on him. I was waiting to buy, but not selling. And then Matt, it looks like you're about the same. You said you were buying, but you were nervous after 2021. He didn't have the greatest 2021 season. And then Eric, you said selling. 2021, he struggled compared to Larson. He was no longer the top dog. And where did he finish in the points? He finished 4th, 3 wins, 12 top 5s. Pretty decent season. Making the run for the championship. Do we go back and buy more stock in the offseason on Chase Elliott then?
I mean, he ran the most consistent out of anybody all year.
I feel like he did,
as far as wins and being up front. I'd like to see that insane run he went on, what that would have done if he didn't go 1-2, 1-2, 1-2 in that 4 or 5 week span. If you pull that out, what season was that? I know that's a huge thing to just say pull out, but like up to that point when he went 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, I think he still was running super fucking consistent up to that point. So like, I would say that, yeah, I should have bottomed in the beginning of the season, no doubt.
So it's funny, he must have heard us talking about him. My dog Chase just had to zoom me into the room here. Here he is. Here he is. We're talking about you, buddy. Yeah, I mean, Chase had a couple opportunities where he could have, should have won races, and he didn't close. Remember, I called him the folder this season? Because there's been times where like he just seems like he can't close out these races. There's been dominating performances where he just hasn't been able to finish it out. And he had an okay season. He made it to the Final Four. Like he did what he had to do, but the expectations for me as a Chase Elliott fan are so much higher. And I believe he will achieve that. But I'm looking for him to have that Kyle Larson season of 2021 where he just goes off.
Just on a
tear. He was the most dominant driver. He won the regular season championship. He was the most consistent driver, is probably a better way to put that, during the regular season. But there was a lot more that he left on the table this year than he probably should have.
I will say this. He checked a box for me as far as something I was looking into as far as where I hold him in regards of, driver and talent and where he stands as far as in the field was, and I take partial credit for, him going 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, because we were at my hunting cabin and we're starting to put the new roof on.
Oh,
and up to this point, Chase doesn't have a win at this point, right?
Yeah.
And I'm busting my buddy PJ's balls, who's also a big Chase fan. And I'm going, man, I'm like, we'll see what happens tomorrow. I'm like, I'm waiting for him to win on an oval. I go, up to this point, I think he is a road course ringer gimmick, where if you take road courses out, who is Chase Elliott? And there's a little bit of ball busting in there, talking to my buddy PJ, and like, we're going back and forth to go, I'd like to see him start winning on ovals. Like, he showed everywhere else what he could do. It's just be more, like Matt's saying, be more consistent. Get those, you should win this race, win the damn race,
Yeah.
And literally right after I had that conversation, he went 1-2, 1-2, whatever he went in a row. And I got nonstop text messages from PJ for those 4 weeks. I'm like, oh, you should have shut your mouth there. You should have said it. And that's what happens when I start busting about my sports, even football, anything. That's why I try to not do that, because I know what it feels like to be on the other end of it. And he just went on that tear, and he showed me that he's no longer just a road course ringer. He could win at any racetrack that he goes to, show speed at everywhere he goes. So to me, he did check a box, and he solidified that to me this year. So
he's a lot like
I thought he had a great year.
Yeah, he's a lot like Tyler Reddick, where, he's a little bit older. He's got a little bit more time in the Cup Series. But once he puts it all together and he figures out ways to really, like, consistently close these races out like Tyler Reddick, I think those two can be some of the most dominant guys to take over the sport in the next 10, 15 years.
This is what I call it. The Jimmy Johnson factor.
Yeah.
That motherfucker would I remember he was the first driver I remember getting irritated about, because I respect when people are good. I don't mind that when you dominate and you're good. What I would always get irritated is, and this comes to a team thing as well, when you find a good crew chief and a good team around you, that sometimes means more than how much speed is in the car, because you find ways to battle back. And I remember saying this about Eric Jones and Kenseth, like, they can never get through that adversity of, if something goes wrong in stage one, their whole race is done for. They're not coming back. Jimmy Johnson he'd blow a tire in the first 60 laps of a race, smash his whole front end up, and at the end of the race, he'd come home in a top 5. Yeah. And I'm like, how the hell did Jimmy Johnson just do that? And like, he would do that week in, week out. He never had these clean races where he just was out front dominating. Like he and his team, what I always was, kind of envious about was how they battled through adversity. When shit didn't go right from week to week, they still found ways to win and get the best possible finish out of that car. And when certain drivers could find that and find maybe that pairing with their crew chief, I think that is super, super important. And I think Chase has that. And, Whitey, I know, you loved Randall and that's something that the kinks are going to have to get worked out, because you see a lot of drivers get matched up with somebody and it just doesn't work. And you get the rotation of crew chief, and now you're wasting years. Now every year you have to readjust to that crew chief. And Kenseth, in his latter years, he was with Jason Ratcliffe for a while, and then he went over to this guy and Eric Jones, same thing. 3 different crew chiefs as you're going through here to here to here. And how do you build a rapport? How do you get that chemistry to know that you could bounce back and get through that adversity, and knowing your team and your pit crew, everyone is in on it together. So, I know it's a long-winded answer for going off here, but it just, those little things make or break if you're that guy, if you have it or not. And I think it's a team thing, not just the driver.
No, I agree, especially with the crew chief pairing and everything. Like, look at William Byron the last couple of years, where he had Chad Canals. I forget who he had before that. Just like they weren't clicking. And then they brought in Rudy Fugel, who was his old Truck Series crew chief, and they immediately started finding success, and he had his best season to date, got himself 2 clocks in Martinsville in one weekend, Slick Willie 2 clocks. So
Slick Willie 2 clocks.
So I totally agree on that one. I also messed up at the beginning of the stat. Chase had 5 wins, so he had the most wins of the season. He didn't have 3.
Yeah, but one was kind of given to him when the first 2 drivers of the race
were disqualified. Hey, a win is a win. Don't put tape where it's not supposed to be. Speaking of, Hamlin's up next. Almirola, we all sold. No need to talk about Eric Almirola. He had a respectful season. He's finished 20th in points. Denny Hamlin, I was selling. I felt a decline coming. Let's see. Matt was buying and Eric, you were buying. So I was the one who got this one fucking wrong, because Denny Hamlin finished 5th, 2 wins on the season, 10 top 5s early on in the season.
It was looking good for you.
It was looking good for me, because he was struggling hard. And then he put on, speaking of having adversity and then coming back, that Coke 600, Denny Hamlin just put on a hell of a performance. That was his fucking race. And I feel like the rest that molded the rest of the season for him. But yeah, so you guys are spot on that one. I fucked that one up. One, I think,
this next one is funny. This next driver is funny.
All right.
Next driver is really, really funny.
Ryan Blaney. I said I was buying as much as I could afford. Eric, you said, give me it all. Give me all the Blaney. And then, Matt, you said, sell everything to buy Blaney. And then you said, which means he probably won't win a race. And that's exactly what happened to him. But that consistency, he pointed himself into the playoffs.
He was just there, man. Oh my God.
He didn't have a win, but he got an 8th place finish in the points, 12 top 5s.
I said he was my preseason champion. I thought he was going to win the championship this year.
And he could have done it too. He was so close up until the end there. But man, we all blew our loads on Blaney, and it did not turn out well. That didn't come out the way I wanted it to. We blew all our money on Blaney on that one. Chase Briscoe, I said buy before the boom. Matt, you said you were buying, and I thought this was interesting too. Eric, you said buy, and you said he will win a race, maybe at a road course, and he did in fact win at Phoenix earlier on in the season. Not only that, he had one hell of a little playoff run that no one expected. Got himself a 9th place finish, a 1 win on the season, 6 top 5s. So not a stellar season, but after last year, his rookie season, I feel like Eric, you knocked that one out of the park. That was a good pick on that one. Busher, I was buying. Matt, you were buying. He was consistent in 2021.
were on
We all
Busher.
bought.
Yeah, we're on board with Busher.
Got himself a win. He wasn't in the playoffs, so he was stuck in 21st, but he still did get himself a win. He was one of many winners. Kyle Busch, I was buying. We were all buying Kyle Busch. Eric,
I
you
love
said
how Eric says
he's rowdy.
Says buying, and then it just says he's rowdy.
Yeah. What do you guys think about Kyle Busch's performance, though? I mean,
Underwhelming.
He almost went
Oh,
winless.
It was like I almost have no words. Like I don't even want to think about this season for Kyle Busch. Like it was that bad. Like we hold Harvick at a certain thing. Well, Kyle Busch is up there as well, and it's like to Kyle Busch's standards, this was bad. It was just bad all around for him.
Yeah, and then someone was bad for Martin Truex Jr. almost pointed his way into the playoffs. Was super consistent with stage
This might have been our
wins.
best prediction as a whole, as a show,
Yeah.
out of everything. We all sold MTJ.
We all sold. Matt, you said it was an age thing, and I agree with that one. And Eric, you said he was going to go winless. He did go winless. He only had 4 top 5s, but he had 15 top 10s and 7 stage wins. That was keeping him alive going into the playoffs, but he couldn't point himself in. Honestly, I'm surprised Martin Truex Jr. is returning for 2023. I figured he would have hung it up if he had the opportunity after this season. What about you guys?
I think I
hang it up. I don't think that's the way Martin Truex would like to go out. Yeah, I think
he's done. I think he's done after this year.
I think if he won one last year, he might have been done, but I think he at least wants to go out as a winner.
Okay, that makes sense.
I think this next driver here is really, really funny. I'll be the first one. I'll get it before you guys do. I'll say it. Like I was so wrong. I was loud wrong about Christopher Bell.
So Christopher Bell, Eric, what did you say? You said you're selling. He didn't perform in 2021. I don't trust him. And that was coming as a Christopher Bell fan from the Xfinity series.
That was fair criticism February of 2022.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And you want to know what? It was. But there was one guy named Michael D. White who was buying, and I was shocked. I actually listened to the episode, and I said, I am shocked that you guys are selling Christopher Bell because he's consistent on road courses and short tracks, and that's exactly what he needed to get himself 3 wins and 12 top 5s, a 3rd place finish in the points, walk-off wins at a short track and a road course. I saw it in the tea leaves. I think Christopher Bell is just going to be booming from here too. I think
you know what I got hung up on?
That's
the 4th car. That's the 4. Yeah, it's the 20. And I just thought, okay, him in there. It wasn't more or less like a dig on Christopher Bell. It was more of a dig on just that team
car.
and that 20 car. Like the revolving door. Like he did okay in it. Like I didn't see a huge jump and a leap forward at that because I would think, okay, they're going to try to get Truex in there. They want to get Denny a championship. So I'm like, he's kind of like the last one as far as resource wise. Yeah, but he definitely proved Matt and I wrong there for sure.
Oh yeah. And then someone, I don't know what we were thinking. Harrison Burton. Eric, you were buying and you go, you got to have Wood Brothers stock, which I completely understand that one.
That's just the stock you hold on to. You know, you buy it super low. And did you lose anything on it? Well, a little bit, but I bought it low, you know? So it's like, I'm always going to buy stock in Wood Brothers.
It's like, I have the Wood Brothers stock just to hold the Wood Brothers stock. It's like being, a season ticket member at Lambeau Field. Like even if you never get those tickets, you're still on the waiting list to get tickets, you know?
Right.
Matt, you were waiting to buy, you said he was winless with Gibbs the year before. And I said, keep an eye. He did look promising at the Daytona 500 early on until he got flipped, which was absolutely insane.
Hey, he gave us an opportunity for the first time to see the undercarriage of the new gen, the next gen.
We got
right.
I thank you, Mr. Harrison Burton, for showing us that.
We wish you luck in 2023.
I don't.
Joey Logano, I was saying buying younger than you realize and hitting his prime. Matt, you were buying, and Eric, you said the same thing, buying. He's coming into his prime years. And what a prime year for Joey Logano. I know we said we forgot he won the championship earlier in the show, but man, he did. He certainly won it.
No, listen, hey, there was one person who forgot that Joey Logano won the championship.
No, there's not, because I did too.
No, what?
Yeah, I completely forgot that Joey Logano was our champion.
Thank you, Whitey. Thank you.
Until the awards banquet, what was it, last week or 2 weeks ago? And they had the red carpet, and Joey Logano was holding the trophy. I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot.
I will say this to back you guys up, though. Like, you ask me in 6-7 years down the road who won the 2022 championship, it's going to be one of those deals where I'm like, was it
Larson? I was like, that's what Denny and Chastain. Oh man, they were battling that crazy wall. Yeah, Christopher Bell, two walk-offs. Like,
was it Harvick? Like, who the hell? Who was it? Oh God, it was Logano. That's right. It was a very forgettable championship, but the race stunk too. Like, there was a lot of shit going on this past year. Like a lot of wild off-track stuff that was going on. There was a lot of safety concerns. So, like, the championship kind of got buried.
That's why I kind of love these predictions, because we were going in with these predictions not knowing what the new car was going to do, which kind of makes it even more interesting as far as, like, because we're basing all of this off of the results of the old car. Yeah. So it kind of made it a little more interesting here.
Yeah, there's a lot of winners that we could have never predicted this season. You know, like Chris Buescher, I mean, maybe at a super speedway, I didn't see him win in Bristol, the night race, you know, like, Eric Jones
won in the 43 car. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, that was huge.
I could see him winning at Darlington all day long in the 20 car, but the 43, you're like, really? Right. Is it going to work out? But sure enough, it did. Speaking of the 43 car, the former driver of the 43 car, Bubba Wallace, I was selling. I bought a whole lot in 2021, and I sold most of what I had because I had high hopes for 2311 when they first started. They really didn't perform. This year, I feel like they turned it around. Matt was sitting on the fence. He said no win, same season as 2021, but he did get that win. And Eric, you were holding. You thought Kurt was going to help him, but you predicted Kurt would be the lone winner for 2311 in 2022. So I feel like we were kind of right for Bubba Wallace, especially beginning of the season. And then he got more consistent in the middle of the season and on into the early parts of the playoffs. But I don't know. We'll see. I think, I don't know. I feel like I'm curious what's going to happen with Kurt Busch, like not being on track, but still helping them out. And then Tyler Reddick, like, those are two young drivers leaning on each other. Either it could go really well or it could be disastrous. And I'm a little nervous about it. What do you guys think about that? Just off topic, like to an aside.
Like whether they'll mesh together as like co-workers? Because like they're not. No, like, are you talking about like if they're driving?
Like they're driving. Do you think they're driving? Will they help improve each other's driving? Because I think Kurt Busch helped improve Bubba's driving. I do.
Oh, I think drastically Tyler is going to improve being around Kurt Busch or being around any of the Busch brothers. I mean, I'm just going off of experience here with this. Kyle Busch always said how much Matt Kenseth kind of helped him mentally. Don't like how Tyler had said in the beginning, he's overdriving his car. Yeah. He's trying to take a 5th place car to 1st, but then he comes in 20th with that car. It's like Kenseth really helped Kyle not overdrive his car and waste up. Hey, if you have a 10th place car, don't bring a 10th place car home 20th. You know what I mean? So like that kind of stuff will for sure rub off and help Tyler Reddick win more races in the future.
I just wonder with Kurt not being on track now. Like I feel like Bubba improved because Kurt was on track and they were helping he was helping him figure things out.
No, I think he'll help tremendously. Just being there with them. And he was, even when he didn't have to be, he was there every week in the shop, going to the racetrack, still being a part of the team. Yep. So like he's just a committed individual. I just think he's in the point of his career, I think he's embracing this role that he has.
All right, and then the next guy, William Byron, we were all buying. In fact, Eric said you're sucking him off because you're so high on Slick Willie 2 clocks. I think it turned out all right. I said he could run for the championship for at least the round of 8, and he got himself a 6th place finish, had 2 wins, 5 top 5s. But there was a big stretch in the summertime where they fell off so hard.
Oh, bad.
But then they came back in the playoffs and they made it count when they needed to. What do you guys think about William Byron's performance this season?
I'll tell you what, I don't know what to think about Slick Willie 2 clocks moving forward. I know he's there. I know the wins were there, but I see it just like Tyler Reddick, where you have a driver that has all the ability, but still very, very new as far as to the Cup Series compared to other people. He's still very, young and, time to grow and mature into, a better driver mentally. I think a lot of the stuff, the talent is there for a lot of these drivers. It's the mental part that they have to get over when they're in the car, not to do certain things that they would do and know how to, hey, don't burn the tires up on this run. Ease up into it. Those little things is where the growth and your age goes into it. That's what I'm talking like Joey's in his prime time where he understands the car. He knows what that's all about. He's made those mistakes. I like my driver to make those mistakes early in their career, learn from them, get better. But man, moving forward, it's cutthroat now, especially with this new car. I still think he's a top driver, but there's with this new car, a ton of people nipping at the heels of some of these drivers.
I'm going to say this quietly. So not too many people hear. I think William Byron is going to have a breakout year this year.
I think you might be right too.
Don't say it too loud. I don't need too many people hearing that, but
I think Hendrick was trying some stuff out with William Byron and Alex Bowman's cars throughout the summertime because they both had wins real early. Because once the playoffs started, it was like 2 new drivers that we weren't seeing for those 2 months. And I think it's going to continue in 2024 or 23.
I think Bush did 9/11.
Well, that's confirmed. Anyways, Justin Haley. We were all buying Justin Haley for some reason. Do you remember why we were
good
buying?
Super speedway racer, dude. Like,
he is good.
Like, I'll tell you this, all throughout the season, he ran amazing at certain racetracks.
That's
certain
true.
Racetracks, he ran top 5, and not just for a stage. It was throughout a consistent race. Now, there weren't many throughout the 36, but there was a handful of races where Justin Haley, and non-super speedway I'm talking, was in the top 5 and top 10. So, I don't know. I think we all saw a little promise in him at the super speedways. And I think this new car going into the next year, I think he's one of those float under the radar guys that, if you gambling segment, he's one of those people like you could probably get cheap that might end up doing well for you.
That's true. Good value pick. Let's see. Let's run through these all kind of together. Michael McDowell, we all sold. Todd Gilliland, we all sold. I think. What do you guys think about Michael McDowell? I know, Eric, you hate him because of what happened with Eric Jones, but
but he had his best season ever. He had a great year. He showed what he could do. I praised McDowell throughout the season until the end. He got a little full of himself and a little ahead of where he was at. But hey, when you're having the best season ever, you're going to push the aggressiveness. You see everyone getting aggressive, but I didn't see this type of season out of McDowell, and I will say he thoroughly impressed me.
Yeah, I thought he had a great season. And then even Todd Gilliland as a rookie, I thought he ran pretty well considering who used to run in those cars, like Anthony Alfredo last year and then John Hunter Nemechek the year before. Like, I feel like he outperformed those guys, and I wasn't really expecting much out of Todd Gilliland at all. Like, he wasn't even on my radar.
I think it was kind of like Haley. There was a select few races where you saw his name up into the top 10 and running half decent. Yeah.
And then Cole Custer, you guys both sold. I was holding on. I thought maybe he would do decent, and that was he's moving back to the Xfinity series, so I blew that one. And then we were all high on Ty Dillon coming out of the Clash. He beat and banged his way as hard as he could.
I think that was more of like a gimmick
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was more like a rah. Like
that
what
was
he
one
did.
of those. That was one of those where like I knew it was like I bought in early, but I knew like the floor wasn't going to fall out too much on me, so I just bought it just as like one of those funny things. Like, hey, you know, I bought some stock in Adult World just because it's funny.
It's like when I bought stock in Dover like a week before they got bought out. So I knew I wasn't going to lose any money. It was just but it was to say like, oh yeah, I used to own a piece of Dover too, you know?
Right.
Let's see. One we were all in agreements for was Eric Jones, big buy. I think he had a great season in the 43 car.
I think he had for the 43 car, incredible season.
Yeah, he was in the mix in the top 10 a whole lot. The broadcast was talking about him all the time and how impressive he was running. He got himself a win at Darlington. I'm hoping to see his momentum keep moving forward.
Now he's got much like you know Bubba Wallace and Tyler Reddick have that Kurt Busch presence. Well, guess who EJ has now?
Scott Noah Gregson.
Oh
my God,
Jimmy Johnson in the building with him. I'm telling you, you cannot look past how important that's going to be to both Gregson and Eric Jones.
Did we mention that in the news last time?
I don't think
that
so.
happened after the season.
Yeah.
Did it? All right. Well, if we didn't announce it last episode, Jimmy Johnson bought a part of Petty GMS, and he's going to run a part-time schedule next season. And I feel like that news flew right under the radar.
Oh, no, you know, I think we did talk about it.
We might have.
We had to.
Yeah, I think we did talk about it, yeah.
But, like, no one's making a big deal about it. He's going to run the Daytona 500, or at least he's going to try to. It's going to be an open car. He's going to have to get his way in. Like, he's going to have to race his way in. But, man, Jimmy Johnson's coming back. I didn't even think about that, man. Wow, Matt, you just blew my mind.
Yeah,
that organization.
I'm really excited about that.
That organization.
Even if he's just behind the scenes for 90% of the season, like he's going to be around. I'm telling you, I told Eric when that got announced, like that's so big that JJ is going to be in EJ's ear.
Yeah.
And Gregson's.
Oh yeah. I completely forgot about that. That's going to be a game changer for Petty GMS. Something that was a game changer for 2311, Kurt Busch, we were all buying. And we were looking really good, too. He got that win at Kansas early on. He was running great. Unfortunately, Pocono happened, career ender. Who saw that coming? So I hope you sold your stock at Pocono while you had the chance. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Let's see. This is funny. Eric, you were holding, so you already had some stock. I bought a lot of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. stock in 2021. I said buy a little and hold it. And then Matt, you were saying buy a lot of Ricky. You said he was going to win a race and consistently be in the top 10 and top 15.
I didn't say that.
I swear to God, I couldn't believe it.
What? That me? I
that wasn't me.
That wasn't me. That's different Matt. Different Matt.
No.
Daytona 500 preview show. You can go back to
I told you guys don't let me drink during recording.
And then we have two more. We have Alex Bowman. We were all buying. I was waiting for more consistency, but it was an easy buy. And then Daniel Suarez. I said buy. He's coming into his own. We all said buy. And Eric, you said he was going to point his way into the playoffs. Not only did he point his way into the playoffs, he won himself into the playoffs. And he finished in 10th. His best finish in his career. So I feel like we nailed a lot of these. And then
especially for going to a new car?
Yeah, oh yeah. And then the ones we got wrong, we got really wrong.
Oh, real wrong.
But that's hilarious though. You need to get a couple ones wrong.
Right.
I couldn't
That's what's fun about it, you know?
Like Eric getting Ricky Stenhouse Jr. wrong.
Yeah, I can't believe You know what though? I understand because in 2021, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was running pretty consistently, and they were like, "Oh, well, this car is going to even things out. He'll run really well." Yeah. And you want to know what? He was looking good at the Daytona 500. We keep saying that. There's a lot of guys who are looking really good at the Daytona 500, and then they didn't do shit for the rest of the year. So, unfortunately, Ricky was one of them. But that's all I have for our buy and sell segment. That's all I have. What's up?
one piece of news that I had written down here. I don't know if we talked about it last week or not, because it's been a while since we recorded the last show. Like the Jimmy Johnson thing. Did we announce that Goodyear's back?
Oh no, yeah. Goodyear's re-signed for a multi-year deal too. So yeah, I think that came out like last week or 2 weeks ago or so.
Okay, I didn't know we talked about that because R.I.P. Neil. We didn't
Yeah,
want another one.
We did not want tire wars.
You don't
So
want
it
a
was
tire
on the
war.
brink.
And from what I hear, Hoosiers are really hard to get at short tracks this year. It's like almost impossible to find tires these days. So, but yeah, that's all I had for this episode. You guys have anything else to add besides R.I.P. Neil?
I just want to say Merry Christmas to all of our listeners. Merry Christmas. Enjoy your time with your family and friends, and be safe. And I can't wait to get back into it. Like I said, I'm starting to get that itch. Little bit every day, little bit every week. I'm starting to get the NASCAR itch back.
Oh yeah. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. We'll talk to you again in the new year. We wanted to drop a quick little episode to give you something to listen to when you're on your way to grandma's house this Christmas. And we hope you enjoyed the Bump and Run podcast in 2022. And we'll talk to you in 2023. We hope you have had a great year and you have another great year. Eric, you have anything else to add?
That's it. Nothing else to add.
All
Great
right.
show. Great season. Great fans.
Yeah.
Can't wait to start next season.
Yeah.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys. And for Matt, the Statman Reilly, for Eric, Daytona Ron, I'm Michael D. White saying have a good night.
Def Leppard rules.